Today is Tuesday, May 1995. I say this because we had a long break. I think our last class was in October 1994. The break extends to 7 months. I hope there will be no long break in the future. As requested, we will review the chapters we covered last year. That means chapters 1 to 5. Now, Abhidhamma, what are called ultimate realities. So there are two kinds of realities: conventional reality and ultimate reality. So conventional reality is something that is true according to the convention of the people, according to the usage. Ultimate reality is what we get out of that conventional truth, squeezed out of conventional truth. And the ultimate realities are said to be four. And they are, what are they? Citta, consciousness; cetasika, mental factors; rupa, matter or material properties; and nibbana, the extinction of all suffering. And these four ultimate realities are treated in different ways in the Abhidhammattha itself, as well as in the manual we are now studying. Now, when I say manual, I mean both the original Pali manual and the one edited or rewritten by Bhikkhu Bodhi, the comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma. So the first chapter deals with what we call consciousness, citta, and consciousness is defined as what? Consciousness is what? Awareness of the object, the pure awareness, or mere awareness of the object. It is not the same awareness we use when we talk about mindfulness meditation. Their awareness and mindfulness are synonymous. But here it is just a pure or mere awareness of the object. And that mere awareness of the object is called citta in Pali, and it is translated as consciousness. And there are 89 or 121 types of consciousness treated in the manual and also in the Abhidhammattha. Try to remember the individual types of consciousness, or all these types of consciousness, by the help of the chart you now see, they understand. So this chart is very helpful in remembering the different types of consciousness. There are 89 or 121 types of consciousness. So we will these types of consciousness now. Now first, consciousness is divided into lokiya cittas. They are 81, and lokuttara cittas, and lokuttara cittas are 8 or 40. Now, lokiya cittas mean mundane cittas. That means the types of consciousness belonging to the world of 5 aggregates of clinging. Now in the word lokiya, there is the word loka, and loka is usually translated as world. But here loka means the 5 aggregates of clinging, or 5 aggregates that are the object of clinging. So those that are included in these 5 aggregates of clinging are called lokiya. So lokiya cetas are those that belong to the 5 aggregates of clinging. And lokuttara cetas are those that transcend that loka, that transcend the 5 aggregates of clinging. That means that are out of the objective field of craving, or simply that are not object of clinging. So they are called lokuttara. And among the lokuttara dhammas, there are magga cetas, we'll come to that later, and then phala cetas, and also nibbana. Magga cetas are called lokuttara because they are transcending 5 aggregates of clinging. That means out of the range of, or out of the objective field of craving. And phala cetas are called lokuttara because they have already transcended the 5 aggregates of clinging. And magga, phala, and nibbana as a whole, as a group, are called lokuttara because they are higher than the loka. So first, ceta is divided into mundane cetas and lokuttara supramundane cetas. And there are 81 cetas belonging to mundane level and 8 or 40 belonging to supramundane level. Now, among the mundane cetas, or the mundane cetas are divided into what? Kama vachara ceta, rupa vachara ceta, and arupa vachara ceta. Kama vachara ceta means what? Types of consciousness that arise frequently in existences. Kama vachara means that frequent the sense sphere. So sense sphere here means the world of human beings, and the world of devas or deities, and also the world of animals and other lower beings. So types of consciousness that frequently arise in these realms are called kama vachara cetas. So we call them sense sphere consciousness. The second group is rupa vachara cetas, form sphere. Form here is used in the sense of matter, and not in the sense of shape. So there are Brahma worlds that are called rupa, or rupa loka. The Brahmas are higher beings, higher celestial beings. And the types of consciousness that frequent or that arise mainly in those realms are called rupa vachara cetas. So form sphere cetas. And then the third group is arupa vachara. is form, so arupa means non-form. Non-form means mind. So arupa vajra is called formless. So there are 4 Brahma realms that are called arupa, formless. That means no physical, they have no physical body. They have no material properties altogether. So they are beings consisting only of mental aggregates. So the types of consciousness that frequently arise in those realms or in those beings of those realms are called arupa vajra chetas. And there are how many kama vajra chetas, sense sphere chetas? 54. And how many rupa vajra chetas? 15. And arupa vajra chetas? 12. Okay. Now, kama vajra chetas are subdivided into akusala chetas, ahetuka chetas, and kama vajra sobhana chetas. Akusala chetas. Akusala is translated as what? Unwholesome. So, unwholesome, unprofitable, unskillful, but I prefer unwholesome. So, unwholesome types of consciousness, or bad types of consciousness, akusala chetas. And the next, and there are 12 of them, and the next group is ahetuka chetas, rootless types of consciousness. Rootless here means they are not accompanied by what are called roots in Abhidhamma. And they are what? Attachment, ill will, ignorance, and then the opposite of these 3. So they are called hetu and these types of consciousness do not arise with any one of these hetus or roots. So they are called rootless consciousness. There are 18 of them. And the third group is kama vajra sobhana. Sobhana means beautiful, and so beautiful sense sphere consciousness. So since they are beautiful, they belong to kusala, what do you call? Sobhana, right? So sobhana consists of kusala, vibhaka and kriya. We'll come to them later. So there are altogether 24 types of beautiful sense sphere consciousness. Now among the akusala chetas or unwholesome chetas are divided into 3 groups. The first group is called lobha mula, those accompanied by attachment or greed, lobha. There are altogether 8 of them. And then the second group is called dosa mula chetas. Dosa mula means accompanied by dosa, ill will or anger. Mula here means the same as hetu actually. So having dosa as a root, having lobha as a root. And then the third group is moha mula, having moha as a root or accompanied by moha. Now you all know that moha accompanies all 12 types of akusala consciousness. So in fact, the first 8 lobha mula consciousness are accompanied by both lobha and moha. And then the other 2, accompanied by ill will, are also accompanied by moha. And the last 2 are accompanied by moha only. So there are altogether 12 types of consciousness that are called akusala, unwholesome types of consciousness. So whatever bad action we do with any one of these types of consciousness. When we are attached to something, when we are angry, when we are ignorant of the true nature of things, ignorant of the Four Noble Truths and so on, then there is one of these types of consciousness in our minds. So these three groups are called akusala cetas. So there are 8 types of consciousness accompanied by lobha, 2 accompanied by dosa, and 2 accompanied by moha. So there are 12 types of akusala consciousness. The next group is ahetuka, rootless consciousness. Ahetuka cetas are divided into akusala vipaka, resultant of akusala, resultant of unwholesome, and kusala vipaka, resultant of wholesome kusala, and then ahetuka kiriya. Now kiriya is very difficult to translate. How do we translate that? Functional. Yeah, functional. Yeah, they just arise and disappear. They do not have any power or ability to give results, and they are themselves not results. So they are called kiriya, functional or inoperative. So the ahetuka cetas are divided into 3 groups: resultant of akusala, unwholesome, resultant of wholesome, and then functional types of consciousness. They are called ahetuka kiriya because there are kiriya that are with roots, which we will come to later. So they are called ahetuka kiriya. Now akusala vipaka, the resultant of unwholesome. There are 7 types of consciousness belonging to that group. Can you give me an example of akusala vipaka ceta? Yes. When you see something you don't want to see, when you see something ugly, when you hear some sound which you don't like, then you have seeing consciousness, hearing consciousness, and when we smell some bad odor, we have smelling consciousness and so on. So these types of consciousness arise as a result of the karma we did in the past, bad karma, akusala karma we did in the past. So they are called akusala vipaka. And what about kusala vipaka? When we see what we want to see, when we hear what we want to hear, when we smell what we want to smell, good smell, then there is seeing consciousness or hearing consciousness or smelling consciousness, and also tasting consciousness, touching consciousness, right? So when these arise, they arise as a result of the kusala karma we did in the past. So they are called kusala vipaka, resultant of wholesome types of wholesome karma. And there are 8 types of consciousness belonging to that group. And then the last group consists of only 3 types of consciousness. And they are a little difficult. The first one is called what? 5 sense door adverting, turning to the sense doors, or turning through the sense doors. And then second one is mind door adverting, so turning towards the mind door. And the third one is what? Smile producing. In Pali, they are respectively called Pancha Dwara Vajana, Mano Dwara Vajana, and Hasitupada. Now, if you're new to this class, the Pali words may seem very alien and difficult to remember. But once you become familiar with the Pali words, you will want to use the Pali words only. Because when we use Pali words, we do not misunderstand, or we do not make other people misunderstand. So after you have become familiar with the Pali words, it is better to use the Pali words rather than translations, because sometimes translations are not the exact ones of the original Pali, and some translations may be misleading. So we will use Pali names as much as possible. So the last three, Panchadvara Vajana, Manodvara Vajana, and Hasitobhara. Okay, so these are 18 rootless consciousness. And then the third group consists of three subgroups, and they are Kama Vajara Kusala, Kama Vajara Vipaka, Kama Vajara Kiriya. Now you know Kusala, wholesome sense sphere consciousness, and then resultant of sense sphere resultant consciousness, and functional sense sphere consciousness. Kama Vajara Kusala, Kama Vajara Vipaka, and Kama Vajara Kiriya. Now, whenever we do something good, some meritorious deed, we do with any one of the first types of consciousness belonging to the first group. So there are 8 of them. So you listen to the Dhamma, you pay homage to the Buddha, you practice charity. So at that time, the consciousness that arises in your mind is one of these 8 wholesome chetas. And the next group, Vipaka, Kamachara Vipaka chetas, are those that are the result of wholesome karma. So you see, wholesome karma has 2 types of vipaka. One type of vipaka among ahetuka chetas, and another type of vipaka among kamavajara sobhana chetas, or sahetuka chetas. So kusala karma, the good karma, gives 2 kinds of results: identical results and non-identical results. When they give, when the result is in the form of seeing consciousness and so on, we call them non-identical results. But when the results are one of the 8 vipaka, kama, vajra, vipaka chetas, we call them identical results. And the third group consists of 8, and they are functional sense sphere consciousness. Actually, they are the same as the first 8, kama, vajra, kusala. But when these chetas arise in the mind of an arahant or mind of a Buddha, they are called kiriya, because they lack the power to give results. They are just arising and then disappearing. Kiriya means doing. Doing means just happening and then disappearing. So they are called kiriya. So the 24 kama, vajra, sobhana chetas consists of 8 kusala, 8 vipaka, resultant, and 8 kiriya, functional consciousness. These 3 together are called kama, vajra chetas. So there are 54 Kamavajra Chetas, 12 Akusala Chetas, 18 Ahituka Chetas, and 24 Kamavajra Sobhana Chetas. Now let us look at the chart. Now the first column, what does this represent? Well, Akusala Chetas, unwholesome Chetas. And the first 8, what are they? Lobha Mula Chetas, right? Accompanied by Lobha or attachment. And then the two green dots, green circles. These two are called Dosa Mula Chetas, accompanied by Dosa or ill will. And the last two accompanied by Moha. So this column represents 12 Akusala Chetas. The first 8 are Lobha Mula Chetas, and then the two green ones, Dosa Mula Chetas, and the last two, Moha Mula Chetas. Right. So let's go to the next group. 3 columns. Now in the first column there are 7 types of consciousness. Yeah. They are the results of Akusala. And then second column consists of 8 types of consciousness. And they are result of Kusala, wholesome karma. And the third column consists of 3. 5 sense door adverting, mind door adverting, and smile producing. Okay, now go to the first column. The first one, what consciousness? Eye consciousness, right? Or we may call it seeing consciousness. Okay, eye consciousness. The second one, ear consciousness. The third one, nose consciousness. The fourth one, tongue, tongue consciousness. And the fifth one, body consciousness. Okay, the sixth one, it is Sampatichana, receiving consciousness. And the last one, Santirana, investigating consciousness. Okay, the second column. The first one, eye consciousness. The second one, ear consciousness. Third one, nose. Fourth one, tongue. The fifth one, body consciousness. Sixth, receiving, Sampatichana, receiving consciousness. Seventh, Santirana, investigating consciousness. And the eighth, again Santirana. So there are 2 Santiranas. Okay, the last 3, I've already told you what they are. So the first one, 5 sense door adverting. The second one, mind door adverting. And the third one, smile producing. So these 18 are called rootless, ahetuka types of consciousness. Now let's go to third group. There are 3 columns. They are easy. So the first group consists of 8, and they are Kamavajra Sobhana, Kusala of Kamavajra Sobhana. Let us just say Kamavajra Kusala. And then second column, Kamavajra Vibhaga, resultant consciousness. And the third column, Kamavajra Kiriya. So the first and the third are actually the same, but the first types of consciousness belonging to the first column arise in the minds of non-arahants and non-Buddhas. And the third column, types of consciousness belonging to the third column arise in the minds of Buddhas and Arahants, also Pacceka Buddhas. So when we add 12, 18 and 24, we get 54. So these 54 types of consciousness are called Kama Vachara Cetas or Kama Vachara consciousness. So it means these types of consciousness frequently arise in the realms of senses. That means in the realms of woeful states, in the realm of human beings, and in the realms of celestial beings or lower celestial beings. Okay, next group, Rupa Vachara Cetas, form sphere consciousness. They are divided into three, Rupa Vachara Kusala, or Rupa Vachara, wholesome Rupa Vachara Cetas, and then Rupa Vachara Vipaka and Rupa Vachara Kiriya. So Kusala, Vipaka and Kiriya, wholesome, resultant and functional. And they arise mainly or frequently in the realms of Brahmas with a physical body. Okay, the first five are called Kusala, and they are also called what? What Cetas? Jhana Cetas, right? Yeah. Jhana is translated as absorptions, yeah, but I think we use the Pali word jhana. So the first one is called first jhana ceta, second one, second jhana ceta, third one, third jhana ceta, fourth one, fourth jhana ceta, and the fifth one, fifth jhana ceta. So they are easy. And the second column is the identical result of the first column. So they are also first, second, third, fourth, fifth jhana vipaka cetas. And the third column is also identical with the first column, only that they arise in the minds of Arahants and Buddhas. So they are also first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, and fifth jhana functional cetas. And then next group, Arupa Vachara, formless sphere, consciousness belonging to formless sphere. And they are divided into three again, Kusala, Vipaka, and Kiriya. Now, the names of these types of consciousness are long and maybe difficult to remember. Huh? So we will use short names. The first one, infinite space. The first one takes the infinite space as object. So it is. Let us just call it infinite space consciousness. And second one is called consciousness. Consciousness. Okay. And the third one, nothingness consciousness, which takes nothingness as consciousness. And the fourth one is called neither perception nor non-perception. You have to read the book to understand these types of consciousness. So let us just call first Arupa Vajra consciousness, second Arupa Vajra Kusala consciousness, third Arupa Vajra Kusala consciousness, and fourth Arupa Vajra Kusala consciousness. Okay, the second column is the identical result of the first column. So again, first, second, third, fourth, formless jhana cetas. And the third column is identical with the first column, only that they arise in the minds of Arahants and Buddhas. So there are altogether 12 types of formless sphere consciousness, arubhavachara cetas. Now, rupavachara cetas and arubhavachara cetas, altogether how many? 15 plus 12, 27. What is the collective name of these 27 cetas? Mahagata, right? Sublime. So they are collectively called Mahagata cetas. So when we want to refer to these 27 cetas as a whole, now we may use the term Mahagata. So there are 27 types of Mahagata cetas. So 27 Mahagata cetas plus 54 Kamavajra cetas make how many? 81 cetas. And these 81 cetas are called Lokiya or mundane cetas. So they belong to the mundane sphere. They belong to the 5 aggregates of clinging. Or they are the object of attachment, object of lobha. Okay, let's go to Lokuttara cetas. Now Lokuttara cetas are said to be 8 or 40. So let's first understand 8 Lokuttara cetas. Now Lokuttara cetas are divided into 2 groups. The first one is, the group is Magga, and the second Phala. So Magga means path. When a person attains enlightenment, a type of consciousness arises in his mind. And that type of consciousness is called Magga. Magga consciousness, path consciousness. Do you know what Magga means? Or what Magga stands for? Just Magga. What does it stand for? 8 factors, right? 8 factors as a whole are called Magga. And you know the 8 factors, don't you? Right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, and then right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. So these 8 factors as a group are called Magga. And the type of consciousness that is accompanied by these 8 factors is called Magga consciousness. So there are Magga consciousness and Phala consciousness. Phala means result. So the result of Magga is called Phala. Phala means a fruit. So a fruit is the result of a tree. So they are called Phala consciousness. Now there are 4 Magga consciousness and 4 Phala consciousness. Now the first Magga consciousness is called Sotapatti Magga, right? Stream entry, the path of consciousness accompanied by the path of stream entry. When a person gets this type of consciousness, he is said to enter the stream, the Dhamma stream, or the flow of Dhamma, which will ultimately take him to Nibbana. And that is actually at the first stage of enlightenment. And then when he gets to the second stage of enlightenment, another Magga Citta arises in that person, and that second Magga Citta is called Sakadagami Magga. What is the meaning of Sakadagami? once returner. So one who returns to this human world only once. After that, he will attain Nibbana. So in Pali, that such a person is called Sakadagami. And the third consciousness that arises in him at that moment is called Sakadagami Magaccheda. And then next one, the third, and when he reaches the third stage, another Magga consciousness arises in him, and it is called Anagami Magga. So what is Anagami? What's the meaning of Anagami? Non-returner, one who does not return. Who does not return to what? Who does not return to? Sense sphere. Right. It is important to understand, say, returning where? Returning to what? Right? Returning to human realm, or returning to sensuous realm. That means reborn as a human being for Sakadagami, and for Anagami, reborn as a human being and also devas. So he will not come back here. That means after the death, an Anagami will not be reborn as a human being or as a deva. So he will be reborn as a what? Brahma, right? So he will be reborn as a Brahma only. So please do not make the mistake that Anagami is one who does not come back to life and death, because he really comes back to life and death, because he has some more rebirths to take. Anagami. And then when he reaches the last stage of enlightenment, another Magaccheda arises in him, and that is called Arahata Magga. Arahata means the state of being an Arahant. Arahant is say generally translated as a saint. But I think you should retain the Pali word Arahant. Arahant, the literal meaning of the word Arahant is a worthy one, a person who is worthy to accept offerings by people, or a person who has destroyed all mental defilements. So Magaccheda that arises at the moment of attaining the fourth stage of enlightenment is called Arahata Magaccheda. So there are four Magacchedas: stream entry, once returning, non-returning, and Arahant. Okay. Immediately after the Magaccheda, there arises Phalaccheda, or resultant consciousness. So there is no intervention of time or the other or something between them. So immediately after Magga, there is Phalaccheda. And these Phalacchedas are given the same name as the Magacchedas. So the first Phalaccheda is what? Sotapatti Phalaccheda, stream entry. There are 5 Magacchedas and 5 Phalacchedas. So, sometimes not sometimes, very frequently I make mistakes. Maybe age has something to do with it. So 4 Magacchedas and 4 Phalacchedas, and so we have 8 Lokuttara or supramundane Chetas. Now, these 8 supramundane cetas can be, say, multiplied by the 5 jhanas we met when we review the Rupavachara cetas. So, when we multiply these 8 cetas by 5, we get 40 types of Lokudra or supramundane consciousness. So, Sotapaddi Magga, there are 5 Sotapaddi Magga cetas, right? 5 Sakadagami Magga cetas, 5 Anagami Magga cetas, and 5 Arahata Magga cetas. The same with Phala cetas, 5 Sotapaddi Phala cetas, 5 Sakadagami Phala cetas, 5 Anagami Phala cetas, and 5 Arahata Phala cetas. So there are altogether 40 Lokuttara cetas. That is why we always say 89 or 121 or 8 or 40 Lokuttara cetas. Like that. Why not say just 81 or just 121? Okay, so altogether we have 121 types of consciousness. So consciousness is divided into these 121 types, both in Abhidhammattha or the Dhammasangani of Abhidhammattha, and following that in Visuddhimagga and in the manual. But that's not all. You see the, so they represent the feeling that accompany these types of consciousness. So what does the red color represent? Huh? What feeling? Somanasa, pleasant feeling, let's say, happy feeling, pleasant feeling. And then blue ones, the blue color represents upika, indifferent feeling, neither pleasant nor unpleasant. And then 2 green ones represent domanasa, ill will, anger, hate, all this. And there are 2 crosses. The first cross represents dukkha. That means pain in the body. You feel pain in the body. You feel the pain in the body with your mind. So the consciousness that arises in your mind is called body consciousness. And then the red cross is pleasant feeling. Here also feeling in the mind. But feeling in the mind depending on something good in the body, in the physical body. And we have to understand, we have to know which types of consciousness are accompanied by somanasa feeling or domanasa feeling or ubhika feeling, and how many types of consciousness are accompanied by somanasa feeling, and so on. So you have to go through that again and again. You cannot memorize all this. Have this card ready with you so that you can look at the chart and say, oh, there are so and so types of consciousness accompanied by somanasa feeling, and so on. So this chart is very useful, and it pays to memorize it. So once it is memorized and it is in your mind, it will be very easy to remember, or say to find out which types of consciousness you are talking about, or you are hearing about, and so on. So if you have not studied it, I mean, if you have not got it in your memory, please try to get it. or if your memory has faded, so refresh your memory. So it is like a map. So without a map, it would be very difficult to go in the wilderness. So it is like a map. So these are, say, 121 types of consciousness, and so I think it's enough for first chapter, right? Okay, let's go through the chart. I mean that again. Okay, the first column. Please say akusala consciousness, and then second group, 3 columns, ahituka consciousness. The third group, 3 columns, kama vajra sobhana, and then the fourth group, 3 columns, rupa vajra, and the fifth group, 3 columns, arupa vajra. Sixth and seventh group, Kutra, right? Magga and Phala. Okay. Then the first group, the first column, among the first column, 8. The first 8. What? Loba Mula, accompanied by Loba. And then the 2 green ones, Dosa Mula, accompanied by Dosa. And the last 2, Moha Mula, accompanied by Moha. Then among the second group, the first column, what are they? Eye, consciousness, ear, nose, tongue, body. And then the receiving and investigating. And then second column, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body consciousness, and then receiving consciousness. And the last 2, investigating consciousness. The third column, first one, 5 sense door adverting, and second one, mind door adverting, and the third one, smile producing. Okay, the others are just kusala chetas, right? The third group, first column, kama vajra kusala. Second column, kama vajra vibhaga. The third column, kama vajra kiriya. And then next group, the first column, rupa vajra kusala. Second column, rupa vajra vibhaga. The third column, rupa vajra kiriya. And then next group, the first column, arupa vajra kusala. Second column, arupa vajra vibhaga. Third column, arupa vajra kiriya. And then the next group, the first column, 5 magga chetas. Second column, 5 phala chetas. Third column, 5, the first column, 5 sotapatti magga chetas. The second column, 5 sagadagami magga chetas. The third column, 5 anagami magga chetas, and the fourth column, 5 arahata magga chetas. And then next group, first column, 5 sotapatti phala chetas. Second column, 5 sagadagami phala chetas. Third column, 5 anagami phala chetas. And then last one, 5 arahata phala chetas. Okay. So altogether 121 types. They are divided into mundane and supramundane, right? Kama vajra, mundane is divided into kama vajra, kama vajra and mahagata, right? And kama vajra is divided into akusala, ahituka, kama vajra sobhana. Mahagata is divided into rupa vajra, arupa vajra, right? And then the last one, lokutra. Lokutra is divided into magga and phala. And magga is divided into Sodapatti Magga, Sakadagami Magga, Anagami Magga, Arahata Magga, and Phala also Sodapatti Phala, Sakadagami Phala, Anagami Phala, Arahata Phala. Okay. Now, when these types of consciousness arise, they do not arise by themselves. They do not arise alone. They are always accompanied by what are called mental states or mental factors. So these mental factors are treated in the second chapter of the manual. So now we'll go to this second chapter. And these cetasikas always arise together with consciousness, and they perish or disappear together with consciousness, right? And then they take the same object as consciousness, and they have the same base, right, as consciousness. So when consciousness arises, these mental factors arise, and when consciousness disappears, they disappear along with the consciousness. And when the consciousness takes visible objects as object, then cetasikas also take visible object as object. So they take the same object. And when the seeing consciousness depends on the eye base, then the cetasikas also depend on eye base. So a cetasika is characterized as those that arise simultaneously with consciousness, that disappear simultaneously with consciousness, that takes the same object as consciousness, and that depends on the same base as consciousness. So these are the four characteristics of cetasikas. When we say accompanied by or sampayutta in Pali, we mean that. So the first type of consciousness from among the akusala, right? So what do you say there? Somanasa sahagata, ditthigata sampayoda, right? Accompanied by pleasant feeling and arising together with wrong view. So they are accompanied by and arising together means fulfilling these four characteristics. So they arise together, they perish together, they have the same object and the same base. So eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and heart is called. They are called bases of consciousness. Okay. So whenever consciousness arises, it arises together with some mental states, some mental factors, and they are called in Pali cetasikas. And there are how many cetasikas? 52 cetasikas. You don't have charts or whatever, huh? Do we? We don't. If you have the manual, let's look at chapter 2. So there are 52 mental factors. And these 52 mental factors are divided into groups. So the first group is what? 13. In Pali they are called Anya Samana, ethically variables, right? It is translated as ethically variables in the manual. And the second group is Akusala, unwholesome. And the third group is Sobhana. So there are only 3 groups. The first, ethically variable. That means they can arise with both kusala and akusala. And then second group is akusala. They arise only with akusala cetas. And the third group is sobhana, beautiful. So they arise with beautiful consciousness. They do not arise with akusala and ahituka, but they arise with kamavajra, sobhana and others. So 3 groups. Group first group is divided into 2 subgroups. So 13 of them are divided into 2 groups consisting of 7 and 6. Okay. The first group is called in Pali Sabba Citta Sadharana, common to all cetas. So they are called universals. There are 7 of them. So 7 universals. And then the other 6 are called in Pali Pakinaka, occasionals. So that means they arise occasionally with these types of consciousness. So 7 universals and 6 occasionals make 13 ethically variables. Or in Pali, 7 Sabbacita Sadharana and 6 Pakinaka make 13 Anya Samana. Now what are the 7? You remember them? Number 1, Phassa, meaning contact. 2, Vedana, feeling. 3, Sanya, perception, making a mark. 4, Chetana, volition. 5, Ekaggata, one-pointedness of mind. 6, Jivitindriya, life faculty. It is mental life faculty. And then 7, Manasikara, attention. Now these are states of mind, and that accompany every type of, say, 121 types of consciousness. And then second group. Now, the first one is Vitakka, initial application of mind to the object. The second one is Vichara, sustained application of mind to the object. Third one is Adhimokha, decision. Fourth one, Virya, effort. Fifth one, Piti, zest or joy. And the sixth one, Chanda, desire, the mere desire to do, or conation. So these 6 are called Pakinaka or occasionals because they do not arise with all types of consciousness. They arise with some types of consciousness and not with others. So they are called occasionals, Pakinakas. And then the next group, Akusala, unwholesome. Now, Here we divide them into how many groups? 1, 2, 3 groups, right?
Yeah.
But no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. It is not grouped like this in the manual, but in Burma we group them in this way, so that when we try to find how many Chaitasikas arise with a given Chaita, we can easily refer to them. Because when we study Abhidhamma, we have to do it all by ourselves. We do not have access to computers or calculating machines or whatever. So it is very convenient to group this and call that Lobatika and Dosa Chatuka and so on. So the Akusala Chaitasikas are divided into first unwholesome universals, Sabba Kusala Sadharana, and then greed triad, that means greed, wrong view and conceit, and then hatred quartet, a group of 4 beginning with hatred. They are 4: hatred, envy, avarice, remorse. And then sloth diet, that means 2 beginning with sloth, that is sloth and torpor. And then the last one is just alone, doubt, vicikiccha. So these 14 Akusala Chaitasikas are grouped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. So the first group consists of unwholesome universals, that means these 4 arise with every type of akusala consciousness, and they are moha, delusion or ignorance, ahirika, moral shamelessness, anuttaba, moral fearlessness of wrong, and udhaja. What is udhaja? Restlessness of mind. And then a group of 3 beginning with greed, that is greed, lobha, greed, deity, wrong view, and mana, conceit. And then a group of 4 beginning with hatred, dosa, hatred, issa, envy, machariya, avarice, and kukkucha, remorse. And then sloth diet, that is 2 beginning with sloth, tina, sloth, and midha, torpor. And then the last one, vicikiccha, or doubt. Now, Sobhana group, beautiful mental factors. And they are how many groups? 1, 2, 4. Group is called beautiful universals. That means they arise with all beautiful types of consciousness. That means all Kamavajra Sobhana, Rupavajra, Arupavajra, and Lokutara. And there are altogether 19 of them, and they may be hard to memorize. So the first one is Saddha, faith, and Sati, mindfulness, Hiri, moral shame, Attapa, moral fear of wrong, and then Alobha, non-greed. It is the opposite of Lobha. Adosa, non-hatred, opposite of dosa. And then Tatra Majjatata, neutrality of mind. Mind not falling to this side or that side. So Majja means middle, so staying in the middle. And then Kaya Pasadi, tranquility of mental body. That means tranquility of Chaitasikas. Kaya Chitta Pasadi, tranquility of consciousness. Kaya Lahuta, lightness of mental body. Citta lahuta, lightness of consciousness. Kaya mudita, malleability of mental body. And citta mudita, malleability of consciousness. Mudita really means softness. So when something is soft, you can make it into any type of ornament or thing. So it is called mudita. Kaya kamanyata, wieldiness of mental body. Citta kamanyata, wieldiness of consciousness. Kaya pagunyata, proficiency of mental body. Citta pagunyata, proficiency of consciousness. Kayu jukata, rectitude, straightness of mental body. And cittu jukata, rectitude of consciousness. Altogether 19, right? So they are called Sobhana Sadharana, so beautiful universals. And then we have a group of 3, and we call this group abstinences, avoiding something. Now they are called virati in Pali, and they are 3. The first is Samma Vaca, right speech. The second, Samma Kammanta, right action. And the third, Samma Ajiva, right livelihood. So right speech really means what? Abstention from wrong speech. Right action means abstention from wrong action, and right livelihood means actually abstention from wrong livelihood. And then a group of 2 that are called limitless. That means they take limitless objects. Their object must be limitless. So the first one is karuna, compassion, and next one, mudita, appreciative joy. And then the last one, only one alone, is called, say, amoha, non-delusion, or it is called panyindriya, wisdom faculty. It is panya, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. So altogether there are 52 chaitasikas, 52 mental factors, and these 52 mental factors arise simultaneously and perishes simultaneously with the types of consciousness we have just studied or reviewed. Now we must know how many types of consciousness arise with, what type of consciousness is accompanied by, say, how many mental factors, and how many mental factors, right? And how many types of consciousness can arise with a given Cetasika. We have to go both ways, right? First we take the Cetasika and we find out how many Cetas it accompanies. And then we take a type of consciousness and we must find out how many Cetasikas arise with that particular Ceta. So that can be studied from this chart, right? Most of you have this chart. So if you have this chart, I don't have to tell you anything about it. You can already find out, right? Yeah. But it is better to try to remember, to be from memory, say how many, 19 Cetasikas, 21 Cetasikas, and so on. But if you have find out looking at this chart, I think it is okay. You don't have to remember. I will not insist upon you to memorize this chart. But if you can say memorize it little by little, say 1 or 2 group a day, I think you can get this chart also. So if you do not have this chart, it will not be easy to follow what we are reviewing now. So if you want to know how many Cetasikas arise with a given Ceta, then you read this chart across. So here are, say, types of consciousness given one by one, and then these are the Cetasikas. The first step of consciousness, with the first step of consciousness, there arise these Cetasikas. So the total number is given in the last column. So 19, 21, 19, 21, 18, 20, 18, 21. And if you want to know how many types of consciousness a certain Cetasika accompanies, you read the chart down. So, for example, the second one, Vittaka, initial application. So, how many types of consciousness it accompanies? Then you look at this and you read it down, and so the total is given here, number, I think 55. So, if you have this chart, then you can understand the relationship of Cetas and Cetasikas, or Cetasikas and Cetas. Sometimes the manual will talk about only Cetas, but we have to understand that Cetasikas are also meant, and we must know the Cetasikas accompanying that particular Ceta. So if you are familiar with 121 types of consciousness, and then you can understand this column. This is very telescoped. So all 121 are included in this one column. So, finding the relationship between Cetas and Cetasikas, there are 2 methods. We call them saṅgaha method and sampayoga method. Now, saṅgaha method is Ceta-Cetasika combination, and sampayoga method is Cetasika-Ceta combination. Now, these Cetasikas are actually very interesting because they include many mental states. I mean, they are all mental states, and they include interesting mental states which are now called, say, stress or tension or whatever. And also emotions, what we call emotions, are all included in these 52 Cetasikas. So, Cetasikas are those that influence or that color the Cetas, right? Cetas are like what? Water without color, clear water. And Cetasikas are like color. So you put a blue color into the water and it becomes a blue water. You put a red color and it becomes red color. In the same way, a type of consciousness accompanied by, say, akusala Cetasikas comes to be called akusala Ceta. And a type of consciousness accompanied by beautiful Cetasika called a beautiful consciousness. So actually, consciousness as the awareness of an object is only one. But when it comes into contact with different groups of Chaitasikas, then it is called, say, first Loba Mula Chaita, second Loba Mula Chaita, and so on. So the one Chaita becomes 121 types according to which groups of Chaitasikas it is accompanied by. And Chaitasikas, some of the Chaitasikas can arise with every Chaita, but many Chaitasikas do not arise with every Chaita. They arise with some types of consciousness only. So that is why we have to find out which Chaitasika accompanies which Chaita, or which Chaita is accompanied by which Chaitasikas. When you understand this, we can understand what are called mental things. Okay, there is another method, but that is just for your information. That is combination of two methods that is developed in Burma, not in the manual. Okay, we'll leave that out because it's more difficult. So, first chapter and second chapter that we have now reviewed, and the first chapter deals with 121 types of consciousness and its divisions and what they are accompanied by, and the second chapter deals with the mental factors and the combination of Chaitas and Chaitasikas, and Chaitasikas and Chaitas. If you want to read more about these Chaitas and Chaitasikas, I refer you to Visuddhimagga. Chapter on what? Aggregates, right? Khanda Nidisa. So the chapter on aggregates deal with us also. So you can either pick up Visuddhimagga and read, or Attasalini, Expositor, or just the manual, this manual. I think this manual is very good, and it's easier to understand. And that's why we book for our class. So the first chapter deals with 121 types of consciousness, and second chapter deals with Chaitasikas. Okay, the third chapter, I think next time. Third chapter with Chaitas, not Chaitasikas, but in Burma, and Chaitasikas also, and that is also. Today, and then we finish reviewing and second chapter, or the Chaitas and Chaitasikas.